One of the first modifications, major modifications I ever did to my van was cut the hole for this fantastic vent. I bought my van in April, May of 2014, and soon after I bought the fantastic vent because I knew I needed ventilation in my van. It's very essential to have fresh air coming through the van. And then I was busy doing stuff in the van, all these cabinets, everything that you see, that took quite a while to make. And I kept postponing the fantastic vent. I kept postponing because I was kind of terrified of putting a hole in my brand new van. My van was brand new and I was terrified. Terrified of cutting a hole in my van. So I kept postponing it, and I spent my first summer without a vent, basically. Then, towards the end of fall, I finally gave in, and I had a good weekend. It's a beautiful day today. It's sunny, as you can see. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. I got my jigsaw, and I prepped everything, and I cut the roof. It was a piece of cake. No big deal. I've seen some people cut these roofs with sawzalls and other kinds of tools, and I see the roof just bouncing up and down terribly. And with my jigsaw and the nice metal blade with lots of teeth on that blade, it cut through this roof like butter. And that turned out to be the last good weekend for the rest of the year, because after that, every weekend it was raining or it was too cold. The decor that I put on a vent needs to be at a certain temperature, and also the other material, what is that called? It's right under my tongue, I can't remember. It's really essential that you have at least one vent. It's better that you have at least two vents. For me, it would have been better if I had two fantastic vents, one in the front, one in the back. But because of my solar panel, I just couldn't fit a fantastic vent over here in the front. In retrospective, maybe a max air vent, one of those that's fully enclosed that you can leave open in the rain or while you drive and you don't have rain coming in. Maybe that would have been better, but I had read reviews online regarding the fantastic vent and the max air vent, and the most favorable reviews were towards the fantastic vent. Slightly more towards a fantastic vent, and that's why I bought what I bought. It works great, except when it rains, I have to keep it open just a little bit so that the rain doesn't come in, and if it's a really heavy rain, it just keeps on closing. I have the option of turning that setting off, so by holding the up and down button like that, I can bypass the sensor for the rain, but you don't really want to forget that you did that. If you go out somewhere and you leave the vent open thinking that it's going to close in case it rains, and then it rains and you forgot the sensor, and then the vent won't close when it's raining. So it's always good to remember to turn that off. You just hold it down and it turns off. So if you have one of these and you don't remember how to do it, you just press and hold the up and down button, and that turns off the rain sensor. This light here will turn red, and then to reverse it, you just do it the reverse. You just hold the button down, and then it'll beep and the sensor will be back on. A while back, there was a little bit of a noise that this was making. I contacted Fantastic Vent, and they sent me a new motor with the blades and everything. I still have it. I haven't installed it because then the noise stopped on the vent, so I never installed that. But I still have it in case I need to replace it or something. It does have to be cleaned a little bit, but for the most part, it's always working. And it's always working, really. I always have this vent running all the time. In case only if it rains, then I don't have that on. But because it closes, but but it's always running. Then later on, because I knew that I needed more ventilation in my van, I installed these two vents are from a vent line, and they're called VanAir vents. Basically what I do is I just leave the two vents open, and I have this one sucking the air in and exhausting the air out, and that's how I stay cool in the van. Sometimes I have these two vents running and I have this vent in reverse so that the air goes this way, but that's really on rare occasion. Now recently this vent here, for whatever reason, stopped working. If I press the button, nothing works. It's not the fuse. I've checked the fuse. It could be the wire over here came loose or something. I don't think it's the wire. I think it's just the vent, because my wires were well done, but it could still be the wire. Now this vent was working last I checked. Yeah, it doesn't really bother me that they stopped, or this one stopped working, because I don't use them that much anyway. One problem that I kept having with these vents was the handle. This handle right here is not original to the VanAir vents. This handle was plastic and it kept breaking, and then eventually I'm like, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to keep buying these things. This is what I'm talking about. It keeps cracking. And what happens is, as I pull this handle, it starts developing a crack right here on top. And then eventually it just cracks completely. I'll put a link to the video that I did making these handles. It's very simple. Piece of copper and a piece of wood, and that's all it takes. Very happy with the handle. It never broke since. It's made to last, finally. I don't have to keep buying those handles. But without these vents, it would be very hard to be in a van. It would be practically impossible. Not impossible, but it would be very hard, very uncomfortable. Right now, it's 79 degrees outside, and it's 81 degrees in here. Of course, I have the vent on low right now because I don't want the noise to interfere with what I'm saying. It's also raining slightly, so I have the vent closed almost all the way down. But so far, I am very happy with this fantastic vent. I just purchased something else. As soon as the weather gets better, I'm going to put a cover over the vent. When I come down here to Florida and I'm not working anymore, I'm not in the same place all the time, I don't have to be stealthy when I'm not working. So I can put that cover on, and then it doesn't matter if it's raining or if I'm driving, I can always have that cover on. But when I go back to work, I can take it off if I want to. Maybe I'll try to leave it on. I never wanted to put a cover on there. It kind of takes the stealth away. That cover kind of sticks up a little bit. I'm finally giving in, because now I come down here and I want to be able to have the vent open all the time without worrying about the rain. So yeah, having one of these vents is essential to living in a van. If you don't have one, you should get one. You should get two at least, if you have room for them. If you don't have room for two fantastic vents, then get something else. And the reason I got my fresh air from the top and not from the bottom, it's because it's, to me, in my opinion, it's very dangerous to have an opening at the bottom versus one on top. If I had a vent on the bottom, on my floor, for the fresh air, yeah, it could work, and the air at the bottom of the van, underneath the van, will be cooler in the summer than the vent on top of my roof underneath the solar panel. But suppose you go somewhere and you park your van and you want to take a nap, or it's nighttime and you want to go to sleep. You have your fresh air coming in, and then in the middle of the night, some guy comes and parks next to you, and now you're going to have all that exhaust come in, and it could be deadly. And because of water, possible water coming in through the bottom and bugs and all that, I decided against having a vent at the bottom of my floor, and I opted for the vent on top. So far, I'm very happy with what I did. I wish I had room for two fantastic vents. I don't have room for that, so I just went this route. If you don't have a fantastic vent, you should definitely get one, because, or a Max Air or any kind of vent. You should really get one, because it's going to change your life living in a van or any other vehicle. So I would definitely go and get myself one if I didn't have one. Don't be afraid to cut into the roof. It's no big deal. Just put lots of decor. Never had any leaks, and I'm loving it. It's very essential to living in a van.
Then you will say on that day, I will give thanks to you, O Lord, for although you are angry with me, your anger is turned away, and you comfort me. Isaiah 12:1.